I am swinging from a 7-story window, throwing parties in a 10 by 7 cell. It's astounding the lengths I'll go to convince the whole damn world I don't need anybody's help. Yeah, I am waving while I drown. Don't bother swimming out to save me, I will only drag you down. I'll try to use your body as a life raft, cause if there's room enough for one, there must be room enough for two. I'll sail the good ship you into the sunset, sipping on savory water till my liver turns blue. Sha-na-na, sha-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Is broadcast in the evening news. I will be relieved. La, la, I am waving while I drown. Don't bother swimming out to save me, I will only drag you down. I'm waving while I drown. Don't bother swimming out to save me, I will only drag you down. La, 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 singing, hey, hey, alright, yeah, I wrote that one myself. It's astounding the lengths I'll go to convince the whole damn world I don't need anybody's help. Fuck.
Yes, everybody, it is me. It is Matt Wright, and I am here live on Thursday night with The Writer's Block, a Muddied Waters Media production. Thank you to all of you who choose to spend your Thursday nights with me here on The Writer's Block. First and foremost, allow me to thank not only all of you fine, wonderful people who are out there, but allow me to thank the wonderful and fantastic Benjamin Daniel Morris Chestnut the 15th for this lovely kava that I am drinking on today's episode. Actually, that's a lie. Today it was brought to you by Casey Nether Carbonell the 12th. So thank you to Casey and to all of you for being here, and to all of you and to Casey, I say Bula Vanaka. If you are on YouTube, if you are on Facebook, if you are on Twitter, if you are on Twitch, if you are in any social media watching this right now, hit the bell, hit the like, hit whatever it is that says that you enjoy this program. Hit subscribe, hit share, hit every button that you possibly can on your phone screen right now, because that is the easiest way to spread the message of liberty all across the interwebs, and that is how we attempt to beat big tech. So, because we have to earn the money that makes this show happen, real quick, this show is brought to you by the Libertarian Party Waffle House Caucus, the fastest growing and second largest caucus in the Libertarian Party. If you want to become a member of the Libertarian Party Waffle House Caucus, all you have to do is go to muddiedwatersmedia.com/store and get yourself a button. They are very nice buttons. I have one right here. You can see it. It's right here. Look, it's very nice. And you can pick up a button for $5 for the small one, $10 for the large one. And if you want to become a voting member, get yourself a shirt, which we don't vote for anything, so it doesn't really matter. The Gravy King. Fierce Luxury by Ashley. This is a high-end bag and accessory consignment store based online. They carry the hottest brands like Louis Vuitton, Chanel, Gucci, and Hermes. And you can consign with them for a 30% fee or 20% less than most consignment stores. You can find them online at fierceluxurybyashley.com or on the Facebook.com in their exclusive group Fierce Luxury by Ashley. Jack Casey. I've made fun of this man for so many months now, and now I feel bad because he actually released his third book. But Crowned by Gold is now out. If you want to know which one that is, that's the one to the furthest right. And from what I hear, they're not bad. I mean, I'm never going to read them, but you should read them and tell me if they're good. I hear they are not terrible, so you should definitely get those. Cumberland Cannabis Co. It is the viable, ethical, and effective cannabis straight from the Cumberland region of Tennessee. And Tennessee perfected whiskey, y'all. So you know that what they do with CBD has got to be straight fire. So go to cumberlandcannabisco.com to get on that Delta 8 from the Cumberland region of Tennessee today. Adderpan. If you want a game that's going to scare the ever-living crap out of you, you should get Adderpan. It is filled with tons of jump scares and or anxiety-ridden, antidepressant-needed moments, and you can get it for $5, $5. Skip Starbucks tomorrow. Buy Adderpan on Steam. You will get all of the expansions for free. And you can find out if you have what it takes to unravel the tale of this haunted school. Plus, it's only $5. Like, just why not? Thomas Queter, he is rolling for state senate in New York because he runs better than Albany. You should go to tom452.com, TOMFOR52.com, to find out more about Thomas Queter's run or roll for office. And if you go to tomfor52.com/FTG, you can join in the monthly meme contest and get merch. So everybody head on over to tomfor52.com to support Thomas Queter today. And Joe Soloski, he is running for governor of Pennsylvania. He is... if you live in the Pennsylvania region, you should definitely 100% vote for this man to give the world the first libertarian governor. And so if you vote for Joe Soloski, he promises to make Pennsylvania mightier than the sword of oppressive government that Pennsylvanians have lived under for so long. I don't know if he actually says that. I do. So vote for Joe Soloski. So my guest is on a bit of a time crunch, so I had to rush through those. Thank you to all of our sponsors. I'm just very excited about my guest tonight. She has been on Muddied Waters. She's been on the Muddied Waters of Freedom. She has been on My Fellow Americans. She is now on the Writer's Block. She has been on with the Cajun Libertarian. I think she just has Jason left, and then she will have run the gambit of every show on Muddied Waters Media. So my guest needs absolutely zero introduction. Everybody out there knows her. Everybody out there loves her. Please welcome with me the wonderful, the indelible Martha Bueno. Hi. How are you?
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you for taking the time to spend here with me on a Thursday evening before your show. You have a show at 9 and you're just going back to back.
What we do. It's what we do for freedom.
It is what we do for... That is accurate. That is what we do for freedom. So...
It is.
the way I usually like to start off most of my interviews is I like to ask my guest how it is that they came to the liberty movement or they came to become a libertarian. And I'm certain that you have told this story 1,000 times at this point, but one more is not going to hurt you. So how is it that you got here?
How I got here, I was a Republican. My parents were Republican. You know, it's like it's the Latin thing to do. We're either lifelong Republicans or lifelong Democrats, and you don't move from that camp. My parents were lifelong Republicans. And I voted for George W. the first time. You know.
Yeah.
You know. And then immediately thereafter, we had 9/11, and then we went to war, and I couldn't get the concept of why we were going to war. Like, it just didn't make sense. If people from Saudi Arabia had attacked the United States, why we were going to Afghanistan, the whole story never quite added up. And so I realized after a while that I'm not down with war. Right. I just don't think that it's it was the right move. I couldn't get behind it. And I started questioning whether I was a Republican or not. And I have an uncle that was like, I think you're a libertarian. And I was like, a what? I've never heard of the Libertarian Party back in 2000, 2001. And so I did a little bit of research and I was like, yeah, this is a place for me. I didn't actually switch my registration over. I went NPA and then became an official libertarian in 2016.
Yeah, so that's not too far off from my story, because I also voted for W, and I also voted for W, and it wasn't I. So you got there a little bit quicker than me, because I knew I wasn't a Republican. I knew I wasn't a Republican, but I knew I definitely wasn't a Democrat. And I ended up taking like a world's smallest political quiz, and I got libertarian, like hardcore libertarian, and I had to ask my dad. I was like, Dad, what's a libertarian? And he was like, it's a Republican who smokes weed. Just vote Republican. And I was like, okay, all right. And then after I was doing more research, I was like, yeah, I am a libertarian. And then after that, it was just libertarian. But I didn't actually switch my registration until 14, I think, when I moved to Florida.
I mean, it's like a thing, right? You're like, I'm not really a libertarian. At least you it's kind of like it's not the cool thing. It wasn't the cool thing to be. So I was like, and then I actually went to Gary Johnson's inauguration party in Albuquerque, New Mexico in 2016. That day I had, worked the election polls. I actually got like Gary Johnson's home district, and I kept meeting like people that knew him, and they're like, he's such a cool guy. I was like, great, so you're voting for him. And they're like, oh no. I have to vote for either Trump or Hillary, whoever, And I was like, no, but you know the man.
Right.
I thought for sure he'd win, New Mexico. And so then I got really involved with the Libertarian Party of Miami-Dade and became the vice chair. And in order to become the vice chair, I had to actually switch my registration, become a libertarian.
And yeah, so I moved down to Florida in 2013. Yeah, because yes, the Red Sox won the World Series that year. That's how I remember that. So I moved down here in 2013. In 2014 was when I started getting involved in the Pinellas County Libertarian Party, and I had gone to like a few meetings, and they immediately asked me to be the secretary. They were like, you should be the secretary because you are hilarious in the notes that you take during meetings, which is funny because I don't take notes during work meetings, but I was at these. And so they made me secretary, but I had to switch my registration over to being a libertarian. So that's how I became.
That's how they get you.
It is.
For anyone watching, if you show up to a Libertarian Party meeting, you are going to be drafted into chair, vice chair, secretary, something.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's how they get you.
That's how they increase their registration. Is they just give you a position and say, but if you want it, you need to switch your registration over, and you're like, okay, cool. And then years later, you just never switch it back.
Yeah, I mean, I was vice chair for 4 years. Here I am. Not going anywhere.
Right, exactly. So currently, you are running for county board of Miami-Dade.
County commission. Commissioner of Miami-Dade. Yeah,
my notes were wrong. I apologize.
It's okay. I can't keep them straight either. It's fine. I'm already a community council member, so it's just a little bit of a step up, but yeah, okay. It's a commissioner. It's a big seat.
Very cool. And so how I know that you're doing a lot of work with People for Liberty, and that they're doing work. They're helping you out on your campaign. So how's the campaign going? What's it looking like for you?
It is, well, I'm still a year and a half away from election. So
I wasn't sure if it was this year or if it was
2022. Okay. But it is, like I said, it's a big seat. Usually the people who win raise over $500,000. So, I knew coming in that not having the Republican or Democrat establishment behind me, even though it is a nonpartisan seat, I was going to have a lot of work, of an uphill battle, if you will.
Right.
So I wanted to make sure I got in really early and started early and, working hard.
Right. And I mean, that's what it takes. Like what I learned from my numerous campaigns that I've worked on, and I've worked on, campaigns for Democrats and for Republicans and for Liberty. Like, I've worked on a bunch of campaigns. If I believe in a candidate, I will work on their campaign for them. I just usually pick libertarians to work on because I agree with them the most.
Right.
But the people who knock on the most doors will win elections like these. Not so much in like the presidential election or the Senate. Those are, you got to knock on like every door and you have to talk to everybody. But for the more state centric and county centric, whoever knocks on the most doors wins. So how's your ground game? Like, do you have a lot of people out doing the door knocking for you, or?
Not yet. No,
Okay.
I have not.
Well, yeah, I guess it's a year and a half away. Yeah, I guess that. Yeah. I was thinking it was in November, so I had like all of these things ready.
No. I haven't quite started that, but to be honest, the campaign is great and fine and dandy, but I'm really working on an issue that's near and dear to my heart and is really important to my community, which is the issues going on in Latin America right now, specifically Cuba.
Yes.
I happen to be Cuban, and I just set up an initiative to get medicine with the help of People for Liberty that you just mentioned, to get medicine to Cubans on the island because the healthcare system has completely collapsed and they are desperate. And so this initiative, I hope, gets me closer to my community as well.
Right.
So it's kind of a double, it serves dual purpose. I actually get to do something that helps people and also brings me closer to my community.
So I have like, when all of the uprising and all the issues in Cuba were happening, you saw it everywhere, but as of late, you haven't seen a whole lot about it in the news. You've got Afghanistan going on. You've got President Biden constantly making flubs. You've got coronavirus like everywhere. So can you give us a quick we all know about like what happened initially. Where are we now with how everything is going? Because like I've tried to research this and you can't really find articles
Shocker, right?
Right, I know.
It's not on the news. I mean,
anywhere.
What the heck?
Anywhere. Yeah. So
Yeah.
if you can give us an update on everything that's going on in Cuba right now, so that way people have an understanding of what's going on. Like, we all knew at the beginning, but now we don't have a clue. And that's coming from a person who reads news constantly. So if you can give us an update on everything going on right now, like, I think that would help out people a lot.
Absolutely. So, don't feel bad. It's not on the news. You need to speak Spanish and probably be Cuban to be following stuff.
Right.
Most of the news I get comes directly from the island because I'm in a boatload of chats with Cubans, both here in New York and on the island. So that's where I get the vast majority of the news. What's going on? Well, the uprising started. They started organically on July 11th, and it was magical to see. Cuba's very much like, for people who aren't as familiar with Cuba, think North Korea. No information really gets out. People can't really do much. It's a very repressive regime. So on the 11th of July, they caught the government by surprise by just protests starting all over the place. I want to say it was spontaneous, but it wasn't. It was coordinated. People kept hearing that they were going out to protest, and so more people would come out. And we had over 40 protests across the island, which is the first time in the history of Cuba that ever happened.
Right.
And the main reason that it was able to happen was because they now have access to the internet and everybody has a gadget. This came about after 2018. So it's very slow in taking off. And then the Cuban government, the first day, they kind of didn't know where to go. They caught them off guard. Day two, they knew exactly where they were going, and they were going to repress people. There are over 800 people who have gone missing and or we can't find them. We don't know exactly what's going on with them. There's tons of people that have died. The Cuban government sent in the Black Berets, which is their top repressive source. And they would go into people's homes, take young, especially young boys, 15, 16-year-old into forced military service. There's tons of videos of them going into people's homes and just shooting the people inside the home. I mean, I know that, people hear these stories and like, that can't possibly be true. It is true.
It's true. Right.
Yeah.
Like,
it is true. It is absolutely horrific. And so people are really scared at this point. The medical system in Cuba has completely collapsed. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. At this point, there's very few people who are still saying, but Cuba is the most wonderful healthcare system. I mean, they can't, most Cubans don't have access to basics. They don't have access to Tylenol, like things to lower your fever. So you think in the middle of a pandemic, while COVID is running rampant, there are nothing. I mean, you can't go to a hospital in Cuba and get attention. There's no medical, there's no oxygen on the island at this point, or very little of it left, like as in oxygen for hospitals. Obviously, there's oxygen in the air.
I was like, man, I always knew communist regimes were bad, but they're pulling the space balls where they're just taking the oxygen from people. That's
in the hospitals they don't have oxygen. There's very few antibiotics are selling for crazy amounts of money. So azithromycin, which you can get here in the US for under $10, right, in Cuba is selling on the black market for over $300, and that's if you can find it. They just, keep in mind that their monthly salary is about $40, so it's your yearly salary pretty much. And if you have some condition that needs antibiotics, the situation is pretty dire. And the Cuban government came out and said, hey everyone, if you want to send people, we need things, if you want to send it, go ahead and send it. We are open for business, just send us all your humanitarian aid, we promise we'll take it. And then they canceled pretty much all flights. And so how do you solve this problem? I mean, right. They need things. We have things. We want to send them things. And then it is very incredibly difficult. It's taking about 3 months to get medicine onto the island. So if I send stuff today, maybe by Christmas they'll have it.
And that's like, as libertarians, we always kind of talk about how bad communist regimes are. And you've always got, that person at the bar, at the kava bar that I hang out at, or at school or wherever, the actually real communism, blah blah blah, and they never take.
I saw that meme in my head as you said that. Actually,
which is funny because I know a guy who says it like that, and I always try to do his voice anytime I do, but they never take it, like they hear about what's going on in Cuba, and the same people that'll say, oh, they've got the best educational system, or they've got the best healthcare system down there, or, whatever. And they'll hear about this stuff that's going on, and immediately they switch from this is the best to, well, that's not real communism.
Right, right. It's never real communism.
It's right. And if real communism had ever been tried, whatever. But like, again, it's been a while since I've heard anything about Cuba because news cycles in America are like, nope.
We're a fickle bunch. Right. We need Kim Kardashian to go back to Cuba, but like actually the real Cuba, not the Cuba that she went to, which is Havana, this very small touristy area where you can go and everything's fine.
Right.
She needs to go back there so that people care.
So I wasn't going to say this, but somebody in the comments, XV Passive VX on YouTube says the U.S. government. Let's talk about the U.S. government shutting down American citizens wanting to help Cuba. Is that an issue that you've been? Okay.
Absolutely.
So
that is a huge issue. So back in 1994, we had the Brothers to the Rescue. It was an organization. Their whole mission was to educate Cubans about the realities of the islands, because I think it's hard for people in America to understand what it's like to live in a regime, again, very much like North Korea. Right. North Koreans aren't aware that how the rest of the world operates, right? They don't understand that we have cell phones and you can just go to a supermarket and buy whatever food you want, whenever you want, it's the same in Cuba. Now they're finding out because they have cell phones, they have access to the outside world. But back in 1994, they didn't have it. So Brothers to the Rescue, their mission was to drop leaflets into Cuban airspace and have it drop down so people could read about the realities of the world.
Right.
And those planes got shot down, and they were killed. I think it was 2 people on that plane. And so President Clinton wrote a proclamation 8687 I'm sorry, 6867.
6867. Okay.
Yeah, that blocks U.S. citizens from leaving the U.S., any U.S. port on your way to Cuba. So you don't even have to make it to Cuba. Just the intent of leaving the United States is enough to be convicted for up to 10 years, given a fine of $25,000 a day, and they can take your vessel. Yeah. This is our free country.
Free country.
Yeah, is going to shut us down. And that's before you even make it there. And the Cuban government has the opportunity to seize your vessel and take you hostage and whatever else, you know. So if you even leave, you have a problem. So yeah, I mean, we're being blocked. But the real problem, and I do have a problem with people telling me about how the Cuban government does all these things, or the American government is responsible, for all these things. There is an embargo. The embargo against Cuba is against them getting credit from the United States. They have to buy things in cash. The United States is the number one place where they get medicine, where Cubans get medicine. They have to import over 80% of their goods because there is no industry. And this is a problem with socialism, we know. Things start falling apart. We're seeing it in Venezuela as well. So they need to import over 80% of what they get. And so the reality is it's not the United States that keeps them in this condition. As I mentioned earlier, they don't allow planes to land. So the United States is people like myself. We're saying, hey, we want to send you goods. And they're like, yeah, but you have to get it here somehow. And by the way, there's no planes. And by the way, there's no cargo. And if you manage to send cargo, make sure to send it only to a person that, you know, like you have to send 22 pounds is a maximum that you can send to a person. If you send a cargo ship, if you send a container full, the government will just seize it and use it for their own sake. So it's, and you know, it's funny because they do this all the time. They sell all the humanitarian aid that, you know, countries like Mexico and the US and wherever we're sending humanitarian aid from to Cuba, they keep it and they sell it in their dollar stores. Well, now it's euro stores, but it used to be the dollar stores.
Right.
So, yeah. And it's not dollar stores like here in the US where it's $1. I mean, like dollar as in they can pay if they have dollars.
Okay. I was like, okay, so they've got like their Dollar Generals, but no, it's if you have cash, you can buy things.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because the other stores are like, they have this booklet that you're entitled to buy, you know, like X number of pounds of rice or X number of pounds of beans per month. And they like mark it off. You still have to buy that with cash, but that you can buy with Cuban money.
Gotcha. So are people still like protesting in the streets, or has like the Cuban military basically shut that down because we aren't hearing about it as much anymore?
There's a few protests that have happened, but people were given summary sentencing for protesting, including children. I mean, I know of several 16, 17-year-old girls that were given year sentences in Cuba for protesting, for just being there on July 11th. They have gotten a year sentence.
For the simple
people
crime
are scared.
I was going to say, for the simple crime of wanting to get out of your house and like see something that's out of the usual, you got a year sentence at the age of 16 or 17.
Yeah, or 17. Yeah,
Right.
there is at least, I believe, 4 that I know of confirmed. I think there are more, you know, but yeah, people have been given really harsh sentences. You can, you know, anybody can do a Google search and just look online. There's several pages on, especially Instagram. Instagram is great. And they have lots of videos of people just getting beaten up in their own homes for, again, the crime of having gone to the protest on July 11th. So there's a problem in Cuba. And people are scared. People really are scared to go out. So it's tough. I mean, it's tough it's tough for them. It's really a difficult situation when you're getting in trouble. You're getting year sentences for going out and protesting. So you lose the interest in protesting.
Yeah, and yeah, that makes sense. I definitely understand that thought process where it's like, well, why do I want to do this if I'm just gonna disappear from my family for a year or more or forever. Like, what is this worth the risk that I'm taking? So I do get that thought process. Now, I know that when you were you were born in Miami, correct?
I was.
Okay.
I was born in Miami.
But you spent a number of years in Venezuela,
Mm-hmm.
which you say much nicer than I say. I say Venezuela. When you say it, it sounds poetic. Now,
Why, thank you.
so can you tell me a little bit about what the experience in Venezuela was like when you were growing up there? Because I imagine, and this could just be my ignorance, but I imagine that would be very similar to what it would be like growing up in Cuba. Or was that completely different?
It was different only because I lived in Venezuela prior to the regime change.
Okay.
So I had been going back and forth to Venezuela my whole life. I was actually born in the US, but my parents were living in Venezuela. So we were all US citizens. My parents were US citizens. I was not an anchor baby, but I went to Venezuela for the first time when I was 9 days old. So that's just to tell you, like, I've been back and forth to this country pretty much my whole life.
Okay.
And I left when I was about 15, which is in the 90s. Don't do the math. I'm old. And right before I left when right before Hugo Chavez took over after his first attempt against the president of Venezuela at the time. Growing up there was wonderful. Venezuela was a very prosperous country. There was a lot of problems. I'm not saying it was perfect, but it was the petroleum capital of the world. There were there's a lot of poverty in Latin America in general. Venezuela is no exception. But the difference between what you can see now in Venezuela and what I grew up with is night and day. Venezuela has completely collapsed. It only took Venezuela 20 years to get where Cuba is now in 60. So they're on a downward spiral very quick. But it's the same situation. There's no freedom. Inflation is, thousands % every year. It's just people can't afford to live. There's no security. Things don't work. The oil capital of the world doesn't have any oil.
Right.
It's it's a disaster. It really is. Socialism, communism is the fastest way to go from
prosperous,
a great society to
right.
To not.
Right. Yeah, to not. Star Trek lied to all of us. So I know that this weekend you have a big event coming up on September 4th at the...
Do you want me to do it?
Yes, please. Because I wrote it down somewhere and I scrolled and now it's gone.
So Spike is here, which is super exciting.
Right.
Or he should be arriving today, I think. I'm not sure on his schedule. Anyways.
I was going to say, I just talked to him and he's still in South Carolina, so...
Oh, okay. Well, then tomorrow. I don't know his schedule. But tomorrow night in Broward County, we have an event supporting Mike Tremont's campaign.
Nice.
So we have a dinner tomorrow, and then the next day, Spike is going to get so sick of seeing my face. Then the next day, we have a rally, a Cuban/freedom rally. Of course, we're including Nicaragua and Venezuela in this. These countries are really hurting. I know I've only been talking about Cuba and Venezuela right now, but Nicaragua is another one that's on fire. I mean, they have 8 presidential candidates currently in jail. Like, they just rounded them up and threw them all in jail. Other news that you don't hear about in U.S. news. So Nicaragua, the dictatorship just decided to throw 8 people into jail because they were running for president.
So in all fairness, what I heard when you said that was these people were so corrupt that they threw them in jail, because I was thinking of free country, like the way I see it, like, oh, these guys are corrupt, let's throw them in jail. No, it's the other way. It's the government is so corrupt, they're throwing candidates in jail.
They're throwing any viable candidate into jail because they can't lie and say, oh no, we're having actual elections and then we're going to win. So when they realize that they possibly might not win, what's the easiest way? They just rounded everybody up and threw them into jail. So this is a freedom rally for anyone. Everyone is welcome. If you like freedom, come to it. It's going to be on Saturday from 5 to 8 at Ruben Dario Park in Miami. And then immediately following that, we're going to have a very small, intimate dinner with Spike, or with Tasha's spouse.
Tasha's husband, yeah. Good old Tasha's husband.
Exactly. And then the following day on Sunday, we're going shooting, which, you know, you can't get any more libertarian than guns and shooting range and Spike and what more. I mean,
from what I understand, that I saw online anyway, I think you posted it. You've recently discovered you're really good at archery.
I did. Can I brag for a minute?
Please.
You have to understand, I am the worst at any sport. If there's a sport, I was the last one picked my whole life. Like, I've never been good at something. And we go to this shooting range, which happens to have an archery range as well. And they're like trying to upsell us the archery. And I'm like, no, we don't need that. We just need guns. We're libertarians. And they're like, you have to try the archery range. It's so much fun. I was like, fine. And we try it. And on my first time, you know, I had a bullseye. I was like, oh, we definitely have to do this. Yeah. Just because I'm good at it. Right. There's something I'm good at in this world.
Well, there are a lot of things you are good at in this world. You are a fantastic messenger for liberty, and you are a fantastic voice for all of the Cuban people and all of the Latin people across the world who are searching for liberty. So, I mean, I thank you because as somebody as passive on YouTube said, between Facebook bans and Cuba internet censorship, you are the only news outlet we have. Because you are where I get Cuban news from. You and Zach, your co-host. Like, you are who we get that news from because you can't find it anywhere else. So,
isn't that amazing?
It's
like,
unbelievable.
I didn't study journalism. I mean, this is just kind of like a thing that Zach and I were like, hey, we should do this thing. We should do this Hispanic outreach thing. And I have no skills in this, so thank you. I appreciate that.
No, like, and it's true. Like, you are a messenger for liberty on so many different fronts, and I'm certain that I am not the first person to say this, but we all thank you for being in this movement because you do a fantastic job at getting the word of liberty out there. So you are better than just archery. You have so many skills.
I mean, sports, okay, fine. At least in sports, it's a sport I can finally do. I can finally say
fair.
That's my sport.
That's fair.
That's my thing.
That's fair. I'll give you that because I've never seen you shoot a basketball.
Oh, you don't want to see that. That's really embarrassing. Trust me, you do not want to see that.
Well, what if we could raise a bunch of money to watch you shoot hoops? I would.
Oh my God. Please don't. Please don't. Can we do archery instead or something? I've shot 8 arrows in my life. Okay, so I might suck at the 9th. I don't know, but
fair. Well, so I want to give you a chance to pitch everything. I know you have a show coming up in like 14 minutes, so I want to give you a chance to pitch that to everybody. Pitch everything to everybody before I let you go, so you can get set up for your show. So just give everybody all of the information that you need to give them right now, and I'll just say thank you so much for spending the time on this Thursday with me.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. So the most important thing is the Spike events. Guys, come see Spike Cohen himself and Tasha. I have to say, I think Tasha's the bigger draw.
I think so.
So come see Tasha. Tasha and I love Tasha. We're going to be there. Come hang out with us. Leave Spike to the side. It's fine. He doesn't mind. All of that information, I guess you can get it on either Spike's Twitter or pretty much anywhere that you follow me. I've posted it to so much that it's just everywhere. tinyurl.com / Spike dinner for the dinner and Spike shooting for the shooting event. If you want tickets.
URL.
And then you can follow me on Twitter, Martha Bueno 18. And the 2 shows that we do Libertario Hispano, which is the one I'm about to do right now. It's all in Spanish. And we do Latin Libertarians on the LPTV's YouTube and Facebook page.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much again. Everybody show up to this event this weekend if you are going to be in the southern Florida region of these United States. It's going to be a great time. You're going to get Martha Bueno. You're going to get Tasha. You're going to get Mike Termott, and Spike will be there.
And Zach. And my
Zach.
co-host Zach.
And Zach, of course. Yeah, I can't forget Zach.
We got to give the girls some eye candy. We've got Zach, we've got Spike, come on. Mike Tremont.
I don't know if Mike Tremont has ever been referred to as that before, but good for him.
Hey, look, we don't discriminate around here.
Nope.
There's something for everyone,
There's
right? We've got a little bit of
for
everything.
everybody in the Libertarian Party. Well, again, thank you so much. Everybody tune into their show in 15 minutes, which is that's the one that's in all Spanish?
It's all Spanish, okay. Yeah. Those of you who speak Spanish and or want to learn it.
Tune in. Tune in. Again, thank you so much. Good luck at the event this weekend, and I will talk to you again very soon, I am certain. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much to Martha Bueno for coming on tonight and spending Thursday evening with me, even though she had a show coming up in just a little bit. She is wonderful and a great voice for liberty for all people. To everybody else. Thank you. I am glad that you all spent the time with me on this wonderful and beautiful Thursday evening. This is the Friday Junior to a long weekend for many of us. For me, it's a little bit longer because I took Tuesday off as well. Because on Tuesday, I will be 7 years sober. So I am very excited about this weekend. So to all of you, thank you so much for tuning in. Now remember that on Friday, tomorrow, Cajun and Eskimo will be here on Muddied Waters Media live with a brand new episode of Cajun and Eskimo from Bayous to Igloos. And then Spike will be at the event on Saturday and Sunday down in Miami. And on Monday, which is Labor Day, I'm not sure if Jason has a show, but I'm going to say he does. And you can tune in at 8 o'clock for Mr. Murica, The Bearded Truth, where Jason Lyon is going to do a deep dive into one of the issues that is plaguing our nation today. I just got a text from superfan Sarah Anderegg about our weekend plans, and I'm not reading that out loud. But he will be taking a deep dive into one of the issues that is plaguing our nation today and giving you the libertarian story on it. So that way, when you are out debating with a friend, talking with a friend, arguing with a friend, you have the arsenal that you need in order to be educated in these debates and topics. Then on Tuesday, join me and Spike Cohen right here, 8-ish, for a brand new episode of Muddied Waters of Freedom, where Spike Cohen and I are going to parse through the news like the 2020 Wonder Boys that we are. And then on Wednesday, Spike has a spanking brand new episode of My Fellow Americans with Corey DeAngelis, and that's going to be at 8 o'clock next Wednesday, the 8th. And then, oh, sweet. I just saw who my guest is next week because I usually don't look until now. And then next Thursday, I've got Magnus Panvidya. Magnus Panvidya is going to be on the writer's block, and I am very excited about that because that dude is awesome. So tune in next Thursday, 8 o'clock for Magnus Panvidya, joining me right here on the writer's block. Please remember to like. Please remember to share. Please remember to subscribe, follow, whatever you need to do to make sure that you never miss an episode of Muddied Waters Media. Do that right now. And if you are one of those old school listeners who don't enjoy taking a look at this wonderful, beautiful, gorgeous face that could be talking to you for this entire hour, and you prefer just hearing the sweet, sultry, dulcet tones of this voice, I'm getting dirty looks. Go to anchor.fm/muddiedwaters, where you can get all of the audio for every Muddied Waters Media show today. You can also find us on Spotify, on Apple Music, on Amazon, on basically any podcasting platform that is out there. And you can find us on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitch. We're on Twitter. We're basically everywhere there too. So tune in to all of that. So how's everybody's day? Is everybody good? Is everybody good? I forgot to do part of my show notes. So I'm just gonna speak slowly for a little bit until I find what I'm looking for. Okay, so fun fact of the week. A narwhal's tusk. This thing right here. This is a Jewish narwhal, by the way. A narwhal's tusk reveals its past living condition. So much like with the rings of a tree, you can tell its age and provide clues to the life it has lived by the tusk of a narwhal. So fun fact for you for the week. Everybody have a fantastic weekend. Be sure to tune in tomorrow night for Cajun and Eskimo, and then enjoy your long weekend. And we will see you right back here on Muddied Waters Media next week. Have a fantastic one. For Muddied Waters Media and the Writer's Block, I am Matt Wright, and you are perfect just the way you are.
I am swinging from a 7-story window, throwing parties in a 10-by-7 cell. It's astounding the lengths I'll go to convince the whole damn world I don't need anybody's help. Yeah, I am waving while I drown. Don't bother swimming out to save me, I will only drag you down. I'll try to use your body as a life raft, 'cause if there's room enough for one, there must be room enough for two. I'll sail the good ship you into the sunset, sipping on savory water till my liver turns blue. Sha-na-na, is broadcast in the evening news. I will be relieved. La, la, I am waving while I drown. Don't bother swimming out to save me, I will only drag you down. I'm waving while I drown. Don't bother swimming out to save me, I will only drag you down. La, 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 singing, hey, hey, alright, yeah, I wrote that one myself. It's astounding the lengths I'll go to convince the whole damn world I don't need anybody's help.